justice has been served for the girls.
Today is not closure. It is just turning the page and starting a new chapter.
The Delphi murders case now enters the next phase, an all but certain appeal. The judge handing down today the maximum sentence for Richard Allen. He's the man found guilty of murdering teens Abby Williams and Libby German. He got 65 years for each girl. The girls disappeared on February 13th of 2017. That crime happened nearly 8 years ago. And it is a crime that not only changed their families, but also their small, close-knit hometown. The judge, Francis Gall, calling it a generational impact. Tonight, our Emily Longnecker takes a closer look at that impact, not only on the girls' loved ones, but the investigators who committed years to this case, and the community who now is so ready to turn the page in Carroll County.
Richard Allen may never live a life outside of prison again. He received the maximum sentence possible, 130 years, which means he'd have to be 150 years old before he even had the possibility of getting out. Judge Francis Gall said she had no problem giving Allen that maximum sentence because of what she called the heinous nature of the murders. Gall told Allen, "You rank right up there with the most hideous crimes she's seen in the 27 years she's presided over murder trials." And she said, "These families will deal with your carnage forever." Allen was in handcuffs and ankle chains, wearing an orange jail jumpsuit at today's hearing, and seemed to show no emotion. The judge sentenced Allen to 65 years in prison for killing Abby Williams and another 65 for killing Libby German, to be served consecutively, one after the other. 6 of Abby and Libby's relatives, including their grandparents, gave emotional victim impact statements. Abby's grandmother, Diane Erskine, told the court, quote, "I will never be the same person I was before Abigail's murder." Some family members lashed out at Allen in their statements. Libby's cousin Josh Lank said Allen put the victims' families through a living hell for the past 8 years. And looking right at Allen, he said, quote, "Now it's time for your life to be a living hell." And Libby's grandmother, Becky Patty, said, quote, "I live every day with the burden of having allowed Abby and Libby to go to the trails that day, and I take responsibility for that. What about you, Richard Allen? Will you ever take responsibility for your actions that day?" She told Allen she hopes he lives the rest of his life in prison with the same sense of fear he instilled in his victims. Prosecutor Nick McClellan told the judge, quote, "Richard Allen is a danger to the community, and he's the worst kind of danger, the kind who can kill 2 girls and then go on with his life." A state police investigator told the judge Allen treated his victims like animals, stalking and humiliating them before he brutally killed them. Judge Gall also lifted the gag order, allowing those involved to talk about the case. Outside the courthouse, Libby German's uncle broke his silence, sharing his reaction to the 130-year sentence.
There still ain't justice. Nothing is going to bring the girls back. So, I mean, this is a little closure. A step forward, we'll be able to sleep a little bit easier tonight.
One of Allen's defense attorneys, Jennifer Auger, also spoke briefly outside.
What they went through is unimaginable. We're looking forward to the next steps in our appeal. Other than that, we have nothing to say.
At a press conference, Mike Patty, Libby's grandfather, thanked the jury.
I hope they get a chance to see this, that they took time out of their lives and remained open-minded and objective and was able to look at the information and deliver a verdict. For that, I will always be grateful.
Allen has 30 days to start an appeal. We know he is planning to do that, even though families of the victims asked him in court today to not do that, they say, so the girls can rest in peace. In Delphi, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
Law enforcement officers from multiple agencies spent years searching for answers in this case, combing that crime scene for evidence, interviewing witnesses, reviewing tips. One man helping lead the charge was Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter, and he today echoed calls from Abby and Libby's families for Richard Allen to take responsibility and to apologize.
Richard Allen has a conscience, and he's going to have a lot of time to stare at a concrete ceiling and think about what he did. You know, the truth will set him free. Not literally, but the truth will set him free in his heart and in his mind and his conscience. I mean, I'm not going to hide my faith. Pretty faithful guy. And none of this matters other than what he thinks. And right now, he's pretty disappointed in Richard Allen.
During the trial and during the sentencing, we did not hear from Richard Allen. We did see footage of him in prison and with investigators, but he never spoke. He never testified in court. During our Delphi debrief, streaming right now on WTHR+, I talked about that with our legal analyst, Katie Jackson-Lindsay. And we talked about the decision from the defense not to try and influence the judge's ruling today.
It is unusual, but it was really appropriate for the facts that they have been handed in this case. And what I mean by that is that they're absolutely correct in their memorandum. Everything that Richard Allen has done up until this point in terms of cooperating with the police, giving the police the tip that he was on the trail that day, talking to state actors within the Department of Correction, all of those things have been used as evidence against him. And so it was really brilliant lawyering on their part to suggest that he not cooperate in that pre-sentence investigation, because anything that he said about the facts of the case to that pre-sentence investigator, anything that he said about his own mental health could be used against him later if there is another trial on this case. So that was really good advocacy on their part to take that approach, even though it's unusual.
And you can see more with our legal analysts, as well as more from Emily Longnecker and Bob Siegel right now. If you missed any of our coverage from the Delphi sentencing or the trial, you can get caught up right now by going to WTHR+. The Delphi debrief is available to stream on demand. Just download our free streaming app on Fire Stick, Roku, and Apple TV. And here's a look at other stories making headlines this Friday night. Now, the city of Indianapolis can purchase the heliport downtown. The Indianapolis Airport Authority Board of Directors just signed off on the deal. And it comes as Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett is making plans to build a soccer stadium on the property. The heliport will be decommissioned before it's officially sold. Now, the state's Medicaid director is stepping down. Cora Steinmetz will leave the position in early 2025. It's been a year since the Family and Social Services Administration uncovered a $1 billion shortfall in the Medicaid budget. That led to a series of unpopular efforts to contain costs. A woman was just sentenced for a deadly shooting in Indianapolis that occurred back in June of 2023. Monique Cooley was convicted just last month. Witnesses say Cooley started arguing with Michael Hess before she fired several shots at him. Cooley was sentenced to 78 years in prison. And a new elementary school is now coming to Morgan County. The Metropolitan School District of Martinsville just announced the plans. Construction on the campus is expected to start next summer, just off of I-69. It's south of River Valley Christian Church. Plans right now call for consolidating 3 or 4 elementary schools with a final list of closures expected by fall. Parents can also expect updates on transportation and also redistricting. Thanks to the hundreds of people who stepped up to donate blood, all because of a partnership between the Indianapolis Colts and Versity. It's the Bleed Blue Blood Drive. It brings in hundreds of people every year, and it helps address a need in our state. Donations could save up to 3,000 Hoosiers who need blood. This event is the largest single-day blood drive in the state of Indiana. Remember, you can find all the latest local stories anytime on our 13 News app.